Have you ever woken up with that suffocating feeling that you're wasting your life? That weight in your chest when you realize another day has passed and you're still in exactly the same place? What if I told you that there's a man who, 400 years ago, discovered the definitive antidote to this mediocrity, and you're just minutes away from knowing it? Miyamoto Musashi won over 60 death duels before turning 30. We're not talking about sports competitions with judges and medals. We're talking about combats where one mistake means never seeing the sun rise again. And you know what's most disturbing? He wasn't born with superpowers. He had no money, connections, or privileges. He had only one secret weapon that most people today completely waste. This video will reveal exactly what separated Musashi from the thousands of dead and forgotten warriors. Brace yourself. After this video, you'll have no more excuses. Either you transform yourself, or you finally admit you've chosen mediocrity. Picture this: a 17-year-old boy standing in a dirt field, holding a wooden sword, facing a trained samurai who has killed before. No referees, no second chances, just two men, and the absolute certainty that only one walks away. This wasn't a movie scene. This was Musashi's first real fight, and it should have been his last. Most people think discipline starts with motivation. They wait for that magical moment when they'll suddenly feel ready to change their lives. They buy the gym membership on January 1st, full of fire and promises. By February, that fire is ash. Why? Because they're waiting for a feeling that never comes. Musashi learned something different that day in the dirt. He learned that discipline isn't born from comfort or confidence. It's born from necessity, from the raw terror of knowing that hesitation equals death. When that first opponent charged at him, Musashi didn't feel ready. His hands were shaking. His heart was pounding so hard he thought it might burst. But here's the thing nobody tells you about real discipline. It doesn't care how you feel. The samurai's sword was coming whether Musashi felt prepared or not. Life doesn't pause while you gather courage. It doesn't wait until you're comfortable. It demands action right now, in this moment, ready or not. That day, Musashi made a decision that would define his entire existence. He stopped waiting to feel ready and simply moved. He struck first, struck hard, and didn't stop until his opponent was on the ground. It wasn't elegant. It wasn't the stuff of legends yet. It was raw, desperate survival. And in that desperation, he discovered the most powerful truth about discipline. It's not something you find within yourself during peaceful meditation. It's something you forge in the fire of do or die moments. Think about your own life right now. How many times have you told yourself you'll start tomorrow? How many dreams are rotting in the graveyard of someday? You're waiting for the perfect moment, the perfect plan, the perfect feeling. But perfection is a lie that keeps you paralyzed. Musashi could have waited to feel ready. He'd still be waiting in his grave. Instead, he understood that the fight chooses you, not the other way around. Your responsibilities, your goals, your potential, they're all charging at you right now like that samurai charged at a teenage boy. What are you going to do? Here's what separates people who transform their lives from people who just talk about it. The transformed ones stopped negotiating with reality. They stopped making deals with themselves about when they'll finally start. They recognize that every single day you're not moving forward is a day you're dying slowly. Musashi didn't have the luxury of procrastination. Neither do you. You just pretend you do. After that first duel, Musashi didn't celebrate. He didn't post about it or tell everyone how brave he was. He immediately started preparing for the next fight because he knew something crucial. Winning once means nothing. The world doesn't care about your past victories. It only cares about what you do today. This minute, this second. That first duel taught him that discipline isn't a destination you reach. It's a battle you fight every single morning when you open your eyes. Most people fold. They choose the comfortable lie over the uncomfortable truth. They tell themselves they'll start Monday, next month, next year. Meanwhile, their lives slip away like water through fingers. Musashi's first duel changed everything because it destroyed his ability to lie to himself. When you've felt a real sword inches from your face, you can't pretend anymore. You can't hide behind excuses. You either become disciplined or you become dead. 2. A samurai's 5 a.m. rule. After surviving that first battle, Musashi developed a morning ritual that would seem insane to most people today. While other warriors were still wrapped in their blankets, dreaming of glory, he was already drenched in sweat, sword in hand, practicing strikes he'd performed 10,000 times before. This wasn't occasional. This wasn't when he felt like it. This was every single morning before dawn broke, without exception. And this is where we connect the dots from that life-changing duel. Musashi realized that discipline isn't just about showing up when death is staring at you. It's about showing up especially when it isn't. Your alarm goes off. That moment right there is your daily duel. It's you versus the comfort of staying in bed. It's you versus the voice that says 5 more minutes won't hurt. It's you versus your own weakness. Most people lose this fight before they even open their eyes. They hit snooze, they negotiate, they promise themselves they'll make up for it later. Musashi understood that how you start your day determines who you become. A warrior who can't conquer his own bed sheets will never conquer anything else. Think about what happens in your brain when that alarm screams. You're warm, comfortable, still half in a dream. Getting up requires effort, discomfort, will. So your mind immediately starts producing excuses. You worked hard yesterday. You deserve rest. It's cold outside the blankets. Just this once won't matter. These thoughts feel reasonable. They feel true. But they're the same thoughts that every failed person has had every morning of their mediocre lives. Musashi treated these thoughts like enemy soldiers. He killed them instantly, without mercy, without debate. Here's what he knew that you're still learning. The morning battle sets the tone for every battle that follows. If you surrender to comfort at 5 in the morning, you'll surrender to fear at noon. You'll surrender to laziness in the afternoon. You'll surrender to distraction in the evening. Discipline isn't something you turn on and off like a light switch. It's a muscle that either grows stronger with each use or withers with each surrender. Every time you hit snooze, you're training yourself to quit. Every time you force yourself up, you're training yourself to win. But Musashi's morning routine wasn't just about waking early. Plenty of people wake up early and accomplish nothing. They check their phones, scroll mindlessly, waste the precious hours when their mind is freshest. Musashi used those morning hours for the hardest, most important training. While his body was still stiff and resistant, while his mind was still foggy with sleep, he pushed through the most demanding exercises. Why? Because he was training for reality, not for comfort. Real fights don't happen when you're warmed up and ready. They happen suddenly, unexpectedly, when you're tired and unprepared. If you only train when you feel good, you're preparing yourself to fail when it matters. The morning, when everything in you screams to stay comfortable, is the perfect training ground for the moments when everything in you will scream to give up. Musashi was forging his will every single dawn, making it so strong that when actual danger came, his body would move automatically, without hesitation, without the luxury of debate. You need to understand something fundamental here. Your morning routine is either building the person you want to become or destroying them. There's no neutral. Every morning you sleep in, you're voting for weakness. Every morning you get up and do the hard thing first, you're voting for strength. And just like in an election, the votes accumulate. After a month, after a year, after a decade, you become the sum total of those daily votes. Musashi voted for strength 60 times before breakfast, while you're still deciding whether to get out of bed. This connects directly to why you keep failing at your goals. It's not because you lack talent or opportunity. It's because you lose the morning duel every single day. You can't build discipline by starting at 10 in the morning after coffee and breakfast. By then, you've already negotiated with yourself a dozen times. You've already proven that comfort trumps commitment. The real battle happens in that first 60 seconds after the alarm sounds. Win that, and you've got momentum. Lose that, and you're already falling behind. 3. Why you fail and Musashi didn't. Now we need to talk about the brutal truth that nobody wants to hear. The reason you're not where you want to be has nothing to do with circumstances, luck, or other people. It's simpler and more painful than that. You fail because you've built a life around avoiding discomfort, and success lives on the other side of discomfort. Musashi succeeded because he built a life around seeking the hardest possible challenges. See the difference? It's not complicated. It's just uncomfortable to admit. Let's connect this to what we've learned so far. That first duel taught Musashi that survival requires action despite fear. His morning routine taught him that discipline is a daily choice made in moments of resistance. Now we arrive at the core principle. You must actively pursue difficulty, or you will never grow beyond your current limitations. Musashi didn't wait for challenges to find him. He hunted them down like prey. At an age when most young men were still figuring out their lives, he was traveling across the entire country, seeking out the strongest fighters he could find, challenging them to duels he might not survive. Think about how backwards this is compared to your life. You avoid difficult conversations. You avoid hard workouts. You avoid challenging projects at work. You've optimized your entire existence around staying comfortable. You choose the easy classes, the easy jobs, the easy relationships, and then you wonder why your life feels empty and meaningless. It's because humans aren't designed for comfort. We're designed for struggle, for challenge, for pushing against resistance. When you remove all difficulty from your life, you don't find peace. You find depression, anxiety, and a gnawing sense that you're wasting your potential. Musashi understood something about human nature that modern society has forgotten. We need obstacles to become strong. A muscle that's never challenged atrophies. A mind that's never tested becomes dull. A spirit that's never pushed against resistance becomes weak and fearful. Every single day you choose the path of least resistance. You're becoming a smaller, weaker version of yourself. You're not staying the same. You're actively deteriorating. The only way to maintain your current level is to keep challenging yourself. The only way to grow is to pursue challenges that genuinely frighten you. Here's where most people get confused. They think Musashi was somehow different, that he had some special quality they lack. This is a lie you tell yourself to avoid responsibility. Musashi was terrified before every duel. He faced opponents who were older, more experienced, more famous. He could have found 1,000 rational reasons to avoid each fight. But he fought anyway because he knew something crucial. Courage isn't the absence of fear. It's action in the presence of fear. You're waiting to feel brave before you act. He acted despite feeling afraid, and that action created courage. Every warrior Musashi defeated had trained for years. They had skills, techniques, experience. Many were considered masters, so why did they lose? Because they'd stopped seeking genuine challenges. They'd found a level of skill that impressed others and then camped there, comfortable in their reputation. They practiced against students who couldn't really threaten them. They accepted challenges they knew they could win. They managed their image instead of testing their abilities. When they finally faced someone who'd spent every single day pushing into genuine danger, they crumbled. This is exactly what's happening in your life right now. You've found a comfort zone that looks acceptable to others, and you're protecting it desperately. You take on projects you know you can complete. You have conversations you know you can handle. You set goals you're pretty sure you can reach. This feels like safety, but it's actually slow suicide. You're training yourself to be weak by only lifting weights you've already proven you can handle. Musashi was adding weight every single day, seeking opponents who might actually kill him, because he knew that's the only way to discover your true limits. The gap between you and the life you want isn't about information. You know what you should do. You know you should wake up earlier, work harder, take bigger risks, have difficult conversations, push yourself beyond current limits. The gap is about willingness to be uncomfortable. Musashi closed that gap by making discomfort his home. He lived in the space between current ability and desired outcome. That space is terrifying because you might fail publicly. You might discover you're not as capable as you hoped. You might get hurt, embarrassed, defeated. But here's the thing about that terrifying space. It's also the only place where growth happens. Everything you want exists in territory you haven't conquered yet. By definition, reaching it requires becoming someone you currently aren't. And you can't become someone new while doing the same comfortable things you've always done. Musashi became legendary not because he was born special, but because he was willing to die trying to become special. Most people aren't willing to risk looking foolish trying to become great, so they remain safely mediocre forever. 4. The impossible training that works. So you understand now that you need difficulty and that comfort is killing you. But understanding isn't enough. You need a system, a method, something concrete you can actually do. This is where Musashi's training becomes crucial, because what he did seemed absolutely insane to everyone around him, yet it produced results that nobody could deny. After learning from his morning battles and understanding why others failed, he developed a training approach that violated every conventional wisdom of his time. And it's exactly what you need today. Musashi trained with 2 swords simultaneously when everyone else used one. He practiced in the dark when others trained in daylight. He fought with weighted swords to make real ones feel light. He trained injured, exhausted, sick. He sparred against multiple opponents at once. Nothing about his training was reasonable or balanced or sensible. Everything about it was designed to create conditions harder than reality, so reality itself would feel easy by comparison. This is the principle most people completely miss. You don't prepare for challenges by doing things at the level of the challenge. You prepare by training at levels that make the actual challenge seem manageable. Let's make this concrete for your life. You want to run a marathon? Most people train by gradually increasing distance until they can run 26 miles. Musashi's approach would be different. He'd have you run 30 miles in training, or run the marathon distance with a weighted vest, or run it on terrain far more difficult than the actual race. Why? Because if you can do something harder, the actual goal becomes not just possible but almost easy. Your brain stops seeing it as an overwhelming challenge and starts seeing it as a known quantity you've already exceeded. Here's the training principle that changed everything for Musashi. He eliminated the gap between training and reality. Most warriors practiced kata, formal movements, choreographed sequences. Beautiful to watch, useless in actual combat. Musashi practiced like someone was actually trying to kill him every single session. He moved with full speed, full power, full intensity. He trained his body to respond to real threats, not theoretical ones. When actual duels came, his body already knew what to do because it had done it 10,000 times before under similar pressure. You do the opposite. You practice your presentation alone in your room, then wonder why you freeze in front of actual people. You rehearse difficult conversations in your head, then crumble when facing the real person. You plan your diet and workout routine in detail, then abandon it the first time you feel hungry or tired. The training you're doing is so different from reality that it prepares you for nothing. Musashi would tell you to practice your presentation in front of critical strangers. Have the difficult conversation today, unprepared, and learn from failing. Start the diet and workout right now, this minute, without any more planning. But here's where Musashi's training gets really interesting and really applicable to modern life. He didn't just train his body, he trained his mind to stay calm in chaos. He meditated in loud, distracting environments. He practiced making decisions under pressure. He put himself in situations designed to trigger fear, anger, and panic, then worked on maintaining clarity despite those emotions, because he knew something crucial. Skills are useless if your mind falls apart when you need them most. This is why you fail when it matters. You've got skills, knowledge, capability. But when pressure hits, when stakes are high, when people are watching, your mind floods with anxiety and all that capability disappears. You freeze, you fumble, you forget everything you know. Musashi trained specifically for this moment. He trained until his techniques became so automatic that his conscious mind didn't need to control them. His body would execute while his mind stayed calm, observing, adapting, responding to whatever happened. You can do this too, but it requires something you've been avoiding, consistent exposure to the thing you fear. Public speaking terrifies you? You need to speak publicly every single day until it becomes boring. Difficult conversations paralyze you? You need to have one difficult conversation every day until they become routine. Whatever your weakness is, you need to attack it directly, repeatedly, without mercy. Not someday. Not when you feel ready. Now. Today. This hour. The training that works is always the training that hurts. If your workout feels comfortable, you're wasting time. If your practice feels easy, you're not improving. If your daily routine doesn't push you past yesterday's limits, you're stagnating. Musashi increased difficulty constantly. As soon as something became manageable, he made it harder. Heavier sword, faster opponent, more complex scenario. He never let himself plateau because plateaus are where dreams go to die. Here's the training schedule you actually need. Stripped of all the nonsense. Wake up earlier than yesterday and do the hardest task first. Every single day, do something that genuinely frightens you. Every single week, attempt something you're not sure you can accomplish. Every single month, put yourself in a situation where failure is possible and public. This isn't motivational garbage. This is the systematic construction of an unbreakable will. Musashi did this for decades and became unstoppable. You can do this for 1 year and transform completely. 5. The final lesson. Win or die. We've reached the end, but this isn't some gentle conclusion where everything wraps up nicely. This is where Musashi's philosophy becomes brutally simple and absolutely non-negotiable. After all those duels, all that training, all those years of discipline, he reduced everything to one principle: complete commitment or complete failure. There's no middle ground. You're either all in or you're wasting everyone's time, especially your own. This final lesson connects everything we've discussed into one sharp point that either pierces through your excuses or proves you were never serious to begin with. Musashi's last major duel happened when he was nearly 30. His opponent was Sasaki Kojiro, considered the greatest swordsman in the nation. The duel was set for dawn on a remote island. Musashi showed up hours late, deliberately. Everyone thought he'd run away in fear, but he arrived in a boat, having carved a wooden sword from an oar during the journey. No metal blade, no armor, just wood, confidence, and a strategy so bold it seemed suicidal. He stepped off the boat, killed Kojiro with a single strike, and left immediately without waiting for acknowledgement or celebration. This wasn't just a fight. This was a statement about what total commitment looks like. Think about what that moment required. He bet everything on his ability. One mistake and he's dead. One moment of hesitation and it's over. No backup plan, no safety net, no room for doubt. This is the opposite of how you approach your goals. You keep one foot out the door. You maintain exit strategies. You hedge your bets. You tell yourself you're being smart and cautious, but really you're just preparing your excuse for when you quit. Musashi's approach was different. Burn the boats, destroy the retreat, make success the only option because failure means death. Here's the final lesson distilled to its essence. Partial commitment produces partial results, and partial results are worthless. You can't be partially pregnant. You can't partially jump across a chasm. You can't partially commit to excellence and somehow achieve it. Either you go all in, or you're just playing pretend. Musashi understood this completely. Every duel, every training session, every moment of his life was full commitment. When he swung his sword, he swung to kill, not to score points. When he trained like his life depended on it, because it did. This is why your New Year's resolutions fail. This is why your Monday morning motivation dies by Wednesday. This is why you keep starting and starting again. You're treating your goals like hobbies, things you dabble in when convenient. Musashi treated his path like survival itself. There was no option to quit because quitting meant dying as a nobody. He'd rather die trying to become legendary than live safely as mediocre. What would you rather do? Because right now, you're choosing safe mediocrity every single day. And that choice is killing the person you could have become. Let's talk about what full commitment actually means in practical terms. It means when you decide to build something, you work on it every single day without exception until it's done. Not when you feel like it, not when it's convenient. Every day. It means when you commit to a relationship, you show up completely, vulnerable and honest, without keeping emotional escape routes open. It means when you start a business, you don't keep your comfortable job just in case. You jump in completely and figure it out, or fail trying. It means when you pursue a skill, you practice with intensity that borders on obsession until you master it. Most people never experience what they're truly capable of because they never commit fully to anything. They spread themselves thin across dozens of half-pursued goals. They start strong, then coast. They talk about their dreams but never bet everything on them. Musashi's life was narrow in focus and deep in commitment. He pursued one thing with an intensity that consumed him entirely. That singular focus, that complete commitment, is what created excellence that lasted 4 centuries. Your scattered attention creates nothing that will last 4 weeks. Here's the uncomfortable truth. You already know what you should be fully committed to. You know what your real goal is, the thing that keeps nagging at you, the dream you're too scared to chase. You've been making excuses for years. You've been preparing, planning, waiting for the right moment. Meanwhile, Musashi would have attempted it, failed, learned, and attempted it again 50 times by now. The right moment isn't coming. The perfect circumstances aren't arriving. You either commit now or you die with that dream still locked inside you, unborn, unrealized. The final lesson is this. Discipline isn't about motivation or willpower or any of those comfortable concepts. Discipline is about making a decision so absolute that your daily actions become inevitable. Musashi decided he would become the greatest swordsman or die trying. After that decision, everything else was just execution. He didn't need to motivate himself each morning. His decision was already made. His commitment was already total. Each day was just another step on a path he'd already chosen completely. You need to make that same kind of decision. Not a wish, not a goal, not a resolution. A complete, irrevocable commitment that leaves no room for negotiation or retreat. Decide what you're willing to bet your entire life on. Then bet it. Stop dabbling, stop experimenting, stop keeping your options open. Close every door except the one that leads to what you truly want. Then walk through it with such commitment that turning back becomes impossible. Once you make that total commitment, once you truly decide, everything becomes simple. You stop wasting energy on decisions you've already made. You stop questioning whether you should work today or rest, push forward or hold back, risk or play safe. You already decided. Now you just execute. The anxiety that comes from living in indecision disappears. The regret that comes from half efforts evaporates. You're finally fully alive because you're finally fully committed to something worth your life. Musashi died at 62, alone in a cave, writing his final work on strategy. He owned nothing. He never married. He never accumulated wealth or comfort. By modern standards, his life looks harsh and empty. But his name echoes through centuries while millions who chose comfort are completely forgotten. He won not because he had advantages, but because he committed absolutely to becoming exceptional. You have the same choice. Right now. This moment. Total commitment or slow death. Win or die. There's nothing else. There never was.